Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate you guys joining me in the Red Brick House kitchen. I've been literally taking care of a whole lot of different things, so I haven't been here cooking like I normally do. So today it's a little bit cold, but we know that spring is not far away. It's about 40 degrees outside. We had snow, of course, about a week and a half ago, but next week it's going to be in the 70s. So I'm going to make a nice soup today. I've got a bit of a cold, and I just want something that just takes that edge off of my throat and things like that and makes something that's flavorful. Now, one of my favorite soups, of course, is clam chowder, but of course, some people are lactose intolerant and can, of course, have the heavy cream and the milk and stuff that's in there. Another one of my favorites is actually a Manhattan clam chowder, which instead of having the cream and stuff in there, you actually have tomatoes into it. Now, one of the things people say that I don't do well is telling people what the ingredients are. So I'm going to try and go ahead and tell you everything that I'm going to put into this before I actually cook it, because kind of a lot of stuff that I do is by taste, but this is basically what we're going to use to make our clam chowder. Now I've gotten about 10 slices of thick bacon here that I've just kind of cut crossways, and you can see it's a little bit on the cross side here, a little bit on the thicker side, nice and rough cut. We're going to end up browning that first. Well, actually, we're not going to brown it. We're going to keep it soft. But we're going to then use the oil on that, and we're going to saute our vegetables. Now, this is when you do a regular clam chowder, you basically have the celery, the onions, and the potatoes. But with this one, I like to have a little bit of a kick to it. So I end up putting in some red peppers. Of course, we have some celery. We have our onions. Put a carrot in there too. And I've got a bunch of these little fingerling potatoes that I'm going to cube up real small. I'm going to actually leave the skin on these because the skin is full of nutrients. You don't have to go ahead and use the skin on there. You can use full bacon potatoes if you want to, peel those and cube them up and put them in there. That's fine as well. But I like the coarseness of it, and anywhere I can get more nutrients, of course, I always like to do it. Chicken broth, most people will go to the store and they'll buy a box of chicken broth, and it's about $3 or $4. What I actually do is I actually buy this. I get this from Restaurant Depot, but almost most places have similar stuff to it. But it's a paste in here, and the nice thing about this is about though everything's gone up. This is like $6, $7, $8. Maybe it's $9 right now, but a little spoon of this is the equivalent of you buying a full thing of chicken broth. So I'll take some of this, add some hot water to it, stir it up, and I've got my chicken broth base. Now the great thing about this is you can get this in all different kinds of stuff, from au jus, beef base, they have seafood base, crab base, and stuff like that, and it's a great soup starter, incredible flavor. I'm going to use some Rotel. Okay, I like Rotel. It's got a little bit of peppers that are in there and stuff, and they have the different flavors of these if you want one. This is the original, which is spicy, but not that hot. I'm going to use a couple of cans of stewed tomatoes because I don't have any of my mom's, and I'm going to use some cans of clam chowder. Cans of clams. Now, the sad thing on this is there's only about this much clams in there. There's not a lot of clams, which is why you want to use some bacon. But you do have the clam juice with this. I actually have 8 cans right here because I like lots of clams in there. Oh, one other thing I forgot too. I like to put jalapeno peppers. I take the seeds out of those and chop them up and put them into the pot here, so that way I get the little extra spiciness. But what you may want to do is, because some jalapenos are milder and there's some that are actually really, really hot. So if you are really delicate about your palate, you may want to go ahead and just taste a piece of one before you put in 2, to make sure it's not going to be too hot. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start sauteing the bacon, and then I'm going to chop up all my vegetables so that way I'll go in behind this. This is actually a really simple recipe, and I forgot to tell you, I end up using, mostly, this has got my salt in it, so I don't need too much salt, but if I do use salt, it will be garlic salt that we use. I, of course, always use my fresh ground pepper in there. We're going to use some thyme. I don't have any thyme that's right now. Plant note here. if you get time and plant it outside in the flower pot, it will come back. So I actually have some that are in the flower pots there, out there that were part of the season. And once the weather starts warming up, they will come back too. And a couple of bay leaves will go in there, and I'll probably put in some fresh basil and maybe a little cilantro just for a little bit extra boost for it. All right, are you ready? Then let's get cooking. Okay, so this is a really easy soup to do and won't take that long. Doesn't take a whole lot of spices and anything like that. So here's what I do. I just put a little bit, I know this sounds crazy, but I put a little bit of olive oil in the pot before I start doing the bacon. Sometimes what happens when you're using your stainless steel pots is the bacon will stick a little bit. And when you first start doing it, I don't want it to get burned on there. Now we're going to cook the bacon till basically it's soft. And you can see our bacon right here that we're going to get ready. We're going to get this hot first. You don't want to put the bacon in when it's cold because it will definitely stick into it. I like to use stainless steel pots because, I mean, okay, let me, truth in advertising here. Let me adjust the camera here. Truth in advertising, I must tell the truth, is we have stainless steel pots and frying pans and things here. I try not to use them for the simple fact of they leach chemicals. They leach chemicals that are not good for you. And we have so many things that we just don't know how bad they are for us, and even plastics. If you have plastic containers, don't heat up food in them, because when you heat them up, it ends up letting more and more of the chemicals get released in it. And now we're at the point where our bodies are filled with forever chemicals and microplastics. And they believe that those are things that may be part of the reason why we have such high cancer here in the country. So I always like using cast iron, although I do not use cast iron here because I don't want to mess up the glass top. But once I get my kitchen outside with my cast iron stove, I will definitely be using some cast iron hot frying pans and stuff outside. So we've got our bacon in here. Let me pull this up a little closer so you can see. Okay, and that's good and hot. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this. We're going to keep it so that it's still chewy. We want it chewy, not crispy. And you see, I've already got my red pepper. Got myself a real nice Videla onion here. Gonna dice up all my veggies. Oh yeah, look at that. Nothing like fresh bacon. Bacon! Now, this is one of those, right now the price of food is through the roof. It's freaking ridiculous. $10 for a dozen of eggs and stuff, man. I don't know where it's going to end. Looking at the beef and things, it's just, it's awful. Cooking soups, stews, and chilies are some of the most economic meals that you can do. This one, the cans of clams are about $2 a piece, so this is about $16 worth of clams for this. You could use less clams in it, but that's the most expensive thing that's actually going in here. So when you think of us getting a real big pot of soup out of this, this can go a long ways. to make your meal money go further. Look at those beautiful colors. Now we're going to use the bacon grease in here to saute the vegetables in. You can see, we're getting close on that. I got to get my celery and I got to get my potatoes in there. See, that's when you know food is really, really good. It's all the colors that are into it. And when you do something like this, fresh veggies, look at that. Okay. See how that's still nice and soft. Cook just a little bit longer. I'm going to take, like I said, I got these fingerling potatoes. I had bought a really big bag of them from Restaurant Depot, and they are beginning to get a little bit older, so they're beginning to get some eyes on them. So we could actually plant them, and I may just do just that. Now I like to cut the potatoes up into nice little small cubes. This is going to be a great, great soup. And I can't forget my jalapeno pepper. And we'll put that in, of course. We have the garlic. That's going to go as well. And that's good on the bacon. So we don't want that to get crispy. And that's just at the point where it's just getting ready to. I'm going to get that out. Now the good thing about the bacon is the bacon will feel like the clam. And by the time it gets the clam juice on it, you'll think that you're actually having more and more clam. So that's one way. Use more bacon and just get more clam juice if you are on a budget, because it's really the clam juice is where you're going to get the flavor. All right, we're going to start putting our vegetables in here and letting those saute. And I'm going to keep on cutting the potatoes and get the jalapenos in there. See if we can get you a better shot of this. Of course, this is broke-ass media in full effect. Got the garlic in there. I'm going to let this soften up. I'm going to get some more potatoes in here. Now this isn't like your store-bought soup. This is going to have lots of fresh vegetables in here, and you're not going to have a hard time finding the meat to it. Now, what you'll notice is on the bottom of the pan, basically all those vegetables, there was a little bit of bacon that had stuck, but all of that bacon that had stuck on there has come off with the vegetables, so that's giving it that flavor as well. And I'm going to put a few more potatoes in there while that's still softening up. I want to use these up before they go to seed. It's amazing that just the vegetables here, they smell fantastic. And I'm going to start opening up our liquids here. And then we're going to start getting the tomatoes and all of our stuff in here. We're going to let this simmer for a few more minutes to let it really get soft. The potatoes take a little bit more time than everything else. Now, you saw that. About a quarter teaspoon, there's my chicken broth that I'm going to be using. I'm going to start grinding in some pepper. Salt and pepper to taste. I don't add a whole lot of salt to this because it's going to have the saltiness from the clam juice and from the chicken broth. Start putting in some of the thyme after time. Now I tell you, the thing I miss from home is I miss my electric can opener. I get one, but I don't know where we put it. Now, this is what I was talking about with the clams. You know that this is a shame. you can't even see the clams in there. It used to be I could buy at BJ's, they'd have like a big can of clams, one of the real big ones for like $9, and it was truly full of clams. But hence everything has gone through the roof. Oh, that smells so good right now. Don't those colors, oh, look at those colors. Oh, look at those colors. Doesn't that just look beautiful? Let that simmer while I finish opening up the cans, and then we're going to put all this together, and then we'll be able to walk back for a bit and let it simmer. Now, let me point out one thing too. I don't have any of my mom's tomatoes, so I've got the store-bought ones. Now, the thing is, these are a little bit on the hard side, and they're chunky. So what I'll do is, I take the knife, and I just go through, and I try and cut it up into a little bit smaller pieces. Now, it will get a little bit softer, but they only get so soft. So I've got 2 cans of these that we're putting in. Gotta put that in there. Got a can of Rotel. You can smell, oh my goodness, it smells so good. Start getting some of that clam juice in there. And let me show you exactly how much clam they actually put in one of these. This is highway robbery. Look at that. How they can call that a can. Which is why I've got 8 cans of it. Now the clam juice is where most of the flavoring is going to come from this. I've got 3 more cans of it to open still. And you can put in as much or as little as you want. Some people will go ahead and you can go ahead and buy yourself some clams in the shell, which is a great looking presentation, is if you go ahead and do that. Whole clam shells in here, and it'll pop open and it'll look really, really cool. I'm going to get my other canned tomatoes chopped up, but you can see, look at that. Look at the, it's like a rainbow effect. And I can actually get my spoon instead now. 1 can left. At least we get plenty of clam juice with all of those. Maybe not so much clam, but plenty of clam juice. And we'll put our bacon in there. All right, so this is really and truly nice. Look at that. Now you can add a little bit more chicken broth, which I actually need to, because I've got so much stuff that's in here that it's almost needs a little bit more liquid. And we're going to let this simmer, and we're going to do a little taste test and see if we're salty enough. If we're spicy enough, we're going to add a couple of old bay leaves in there. So look at that. You see that right now? Look at that. It's got a little bit of a kick. Yeah, that's going to be good. The potatoes need to soften up, so we're going to let this simmer for about a half hour. But the clam juice in here, we're going to add, after it's just about done, we're going to add some cilantro to finish it off. But I don't want it to be put in just yet, because I don't want it to get like cooked down. I still want it to be green, so we want to do it just before we serve it. So we got everything here. We're going to put the top on it. We'll add just a little bit more chicken broth, just about 2 more cups. Help it go a little further. And then we're going to let this simmer for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then it should be done. And we'll add our cilantro. Oh man. Okay. So I went out and I cooked some chicken breast, and this has been simmering. In fact, this is done. All we're gonna do is oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. We're just gonna cut up some cilantro. I grilled some chicken outside because I want to make some chicken salad and have some grilled chicken for salad tonight. And that's one of those great things that you can do. Great meal, and it'll be good for a couple of meals out of it. That can help save some money. So I like to put a little bit of cilantro because that's one of those spices that I just truly love. But I put it on in the end. You see how nice that green color looks on it? And I do it just before I'm about ready to serve it, so that way you get that color into it. So you see how nice that looks. Let's give it a little taste here. Oh man. Get some crusty bread or some soup crackers. Look at that. Oh, look at that. You see that? See the carrots, the potatoes, the celery, the onions. Oh my goodness. Okay, taste test. Here we go. Oh, it's hot. That's a hot potato. Oh man, it actually has you got the clam. I can taste the garlic, taste the cilantro. I got the pepper. There's the thyme. But it actually has a sweet taste to it. That might be the carrots. It's too hot to handle. Oh, but this is good. This feels so good on my throat right now with this cold. Oh my goodness. Look at that. You see? See the bits of the clam? I see some bacon. But look how pretty the carrots look. This is fantastic. All right. So there's another one for you. I'm Mark Holmes. And doing this, making a pot of soup this big, this is about $20, maybe, no, let me say about $22 for this. Maybe $22, $23. But That's a lot of soup. That'll feed a lot of people. Have a good one. Ooh.